He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Bat Minutes and Robin. This is the podcast where access is granted to every minute of Batman Robin, 1 minute at a time. I'm one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
I am your other host, John Parker, and from my perspective, access is denied.
Oh.
Get away from me. Get away.
John's just going to sit fuming in the corner the entire time. Be like, what do you think, John? No, I'm not going to tell you. Never, never.
I'm here to crack the code so you don't have to. Me and Niall are doing the heavy lifting. We're figuring this film out.
Oh, well, talk about code cracking. Was one my memory of this being a code cracking scene, which turned out to not really be true, but it did inspire me to get someone who know a thing or two about hacking. We have Phil from the Matrix Minute.
Allegedly. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you. I'm glad to be back. Hi, guys.
And I don't think... Oh, actually, though, there's kind of hacking in Independence Day with Jeff Goldblum, right?
Yeah.
That's hacking.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm in IT in my day-to-day life, so yeah.
That's why we brought in... That's totally the reason we brought in.
You got the right people here. You got the experts.
I don't know if hacking is the word I would use in Independence Day. He plugs in his Apple Mac or whatever into the alien ship.
They give it a virus. Come on, that had to have some kind of hacking. They hacked an alien system.
He's cracking. He's not hacking. That's a whole distinction.
There you go.
Okay.
But did he not like hack into the alien signal though to get their countdown code, or is it just like no? It's just there. I just observed that was happening.
Yeah, they were using the aliens were using the Earth's satellites essentially in order for them to send their signals to coordinate with each other. Jeff Goldblum is just the only one smart enough to notice, and then some of this is coming from the novelization. He's able to get his computer to talk to their systems because humanity has been secretly essentially using the alien technology from the ship that was captured at Roswell as human technology. So all of Apple technology, which is what Jeff Goldblum's computer was, is based on the captured alien technology.
That's amazing. Why isn't that in the film?
That's how Jeff Goldblum's Mac is able to talk to the alien systems, which is a plot hole that people always bring up, and it's because it didn't make the movie.
That would have been great, and it would have also added another kind of an interesting angle, like the satire angle of you knew about this all along, and you've been exploiting it, government and whatnot.
It always pays to read the novelization. That's that's the lesson I've learned so far from Movies by Minutes. Is like there's so much more information in that.
You know, I know last minute we sort of said, boy, we thought we were signing on for like a campy silly movie, and here's like an actual minute of acting. Here we goes the campy silly shit.
I love it.
Yeah, because this is minute 92, which opens with an old man ready for the slab, and it ends with a bewildered Babs. So, yeah. So we do get like a little couple end seconds of Michael Gough's smiling face here, and it just kind of reminded me of a bit in Bedazzled with Brendan Fraser, where he wishes he was more sensitive or whatever. So there's a whole scene where he can't stop crying at a sunset, and every time he looks over, he's like, "Will that darn thing ever set?" It's like seeing the scene is still going on. It's like, just get us away from Michael Gough. It's too damn sad.
Yeah. I've only seen the trailer of that on a VHS.
That is one of the movies that I kicked around bringing to the table as my bad movie that I will defend. But I eventually realized I was mostly defending it because I like Elizabeth Hurley for entirely mammalian lizard brain type reasons.
I genuinely Brendan Fraser in that movie is phenomenal. Yeah, he is.
He is sort of at the height of his Brendan Fraser powers, I guess.
There's a bit where he's essentially Pablo Escobar, and he has to deliver the name Raul. and it's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. Where he's just speaking. He's just like, "Raoul," and you can't get it on YouTube. It's like one of the most perfect moments in a comedy, and you can't get it on YouTube.
That's your task.
What a shame.
Yeah. She actually should just go with like,
Do it, Niall.
No one else is gonna put up that damn scene of him saying Raoul. It's gonna be me.
You do it right after this podcast is over. When we're done recording, you do it.
Yeah. Don't let Phil down.
Don't let me down, man.
But
Don't
so
let me down.
before we tear this minute to shreds, I'm going to actually say something in defense of it.
Oh.
What Alicia Silverstone is doing is actually something that a hacker might want to do if they were trying to get access to someone's password. This is...
Oh, yeah, like using their personal things to figure out.
You would use the personal information. That's part of how people will catfish and things like that, is they'll try the pet's name, right? They'll try the brother's name, the sister's name, the mother's name, whatever. There was the meme a while ago, like, is your password the name of your pet? Why, that's insecure. And the people in the comments below going, how'd they know my password was my pet's name? Everyone's password is their pet's name.
Yeah, never do that, people. And if you do, put in loads of numbers and symbols and all kinds of crap.
Yeah, I
Honestly,
mean, there are ways to sort of gussy up,
Yeah.
even if you're going to use your pet's name.
Yeah.
But I love the things she tries are funny to me, though. Like,
Oh, they're hilarious. I
England.
love them.
England.
England.
What do I know about this guy? He's English.
England, yes.
The next one's bow tie. Trey.
Like, even England, like, literally, Alfred has not lived in England for at least 35 years. Minimum all of Bruce's life, which is, we've decided is around 35, which is the age of George Clooney.
Yeah. But that's...
Yeah.
I'm beginning to think, because Barbara Wilson is supposed to be a computer science major. I'm beginning to think she was never in Oxbridge. I think she just, like, mugged someone and stole their uniform on the way to the airport.
Yes.
Like, because not only are this such base-level attempts at hackery, she types so slowly. It's as if she's never been on a computer before. She takes about 5 minutes to type PEG at the end.
It's beautiful.
it's the 90s. That's what everyone did, unless they were in the Matrix.
I felt like I was watching my dad
Unless
on a
they were
computer.
in the Matrix.
Like nowadays, where he's just like...
I wish the camera had showed her hunting and pecking.
going,
Yes. I would love that.
Damn QWERTY keyboard.
That'd be nice.
It amazes me that you still see people doing that. I work with people who do that, and I'm thinking to myself, you're only in like your mid-40s. What is wrong with you?
It is a little bit of a misconception, though. Like, yes, I mean, because a computer scientist has to work with a keyboard all the time, they're usually fast-ish at typing, but they're not necessarily like the hyper-fast typers like you might think about.
This is Alex now, because you work in IT, and you're like, I peck at a keyboard. It's not uncommon.
This is literally me. But like we're not necessarily like the crazy fast typers, because usually if you're typing something, you're also putting thought into what you're doing. Usually if you're typing that fast, you're typing something in a way that you almost can leave thought behind. So you're something like a stenographer or a secretary or something like that, where you take dictation.
Okay.
So when you see like the people with the really high words per minute, that's usually more of a secretary type job, or a stenographer.
That makes sense.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't think about that. Because, like, I'm just self-taught. I just keep using the keyboard. It's funny. When I was using the keyboard, when I was learning QWERTY when I was a kid at computer class, I was so frustrated at the keys and how I have to hold my hands and fingers, like position my fingers to be able to efficiently, punch the keys in. And I hated it. I hated it every time we had to do that.
Same.
And I just was like, I give up with this. I don't care. But like, just self-taught, like throughout the years, I'm typing all the time, AOL Messenger, chatting to friends.
You know what? Oh, you know what it actually
And I'm
might
great.
be? You know what I think it might be? Maybe. I'm going to try and no prize her slow, crappy typing. Let's suppose, especially because she is maybe coming from England coming from a different place. The keyboard layout is different. Maybe
Slightly?
either she is used to Dvorak or Alfred is using Dvorak. And so she's typing slowly because literally the key is not where her fingers expect it to be.
Okay. Okay. I haven't seen a different keyboard here.
No,
in a
I know
very
there's a
long time.
little bit. There's a little. Let me see. I'm looking at a difference.
I think
in
the only
UK
differences I can think of
UK
is
layouts. The differences are not in the letters themselves.
it's usually like the
No.
numbers
But
and stuff.
I do think maybe if we're trying to no prize the poor typing, I think maybe she's used to a different keyboard layout.
I actually think what it genuinely is just it's kind of what you said before. She's thinking while she's typing. It's the thought process of, will this work?
P-E-G.
Yeah.
Oh no! Wait, no what? No, I've come up with it. Here's the real no prize.
We got
answer.
the real info on this minute.
So
Yeah,
because
tell
Alfred
us.
is a 90-year-old man, and he probably does type like that, even if it's a word like England that he's typed 1,000 times, he has to type the E, bring his hands back, find the N, type that, so on and so forth. And the password is not only looking for the correctness of the word, it is looking for the timing with which you type it. You know, it's
Right.
like if you're trying to it's like if the password was trying to match a piece of music, you have to also match the tempo with which it is played.
That would be genius for a password, actually.
So she can't just type England like someone who knows how to type really well. She has to type England with the pace of a 90-year-old man who did not grow up with a
It's
keyboard.
also got a primitive facial recognition software, and that's why she's wearing Alfred's glasses.
There you go.
Well, the whole thing of typing is always makes me think of, probably enough, Up in the Air with George Clooney. Because that bit where he's giving that to Anna Kendrick. She's on the plane next to him, just like ferociously typing. And he's like, "Were you angry at your computer?" And she's like, "I'm typing with purpose." And she is like aggressively like.
That's what happens to me when I'm typing at work. People always look over at me like, "What are you doing?" It's like, I'm typing. Like, what?
There you go. That's your excuse now, John. You're typing with purpose.
Yeah, what do you want? I'm typing.
Are you angry?
That's how you type. You go bam.
Hell yeah, that's how you do it.
It's like a textual form of resting bitch face, where it's just like, no, it's typing with purpose.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
Which I am accused of having as well. So there you go.
I think that's always like, I'd never realize I had that until I see a photo of me in the background at a party, and I'm like, what the hell? Why do I look so miserable?
Aw.
That's my face. I don't call it resting bitch face. I just call it resting murder face.
Oh.
I don't look.
Oh.
I don't. The problem is I'm a 6'3", 240-pound man with a giant beard. I don't look like I'm gonna be bitchy with you. I look like I'm gonna slaughter you. It's like I'm
Came from the
not,
mountains.
but I look like I could. It's not out of the question.
One thing though, like, because, and this is like, what if we don't talk about this in this minute, this might be the only opportunity we ever get to talk about this, because this visual of a Barbara who would be Batgirl sitting with glasses, typing on a computer, potentially hacking something, is kind of iconic in its own way because of the character Oracle. Who
That's exactly what I was thinking. This is an allusion to what she's going to become, right?
Yeah. So I had like looked a little bit into the origins of Oracle, because it's basically like, I don't know when we'll ever see Oracle on the big screen. Like, I know we're finally getting a Batgirl movie, but I don't think they're going to be in any.
Oracle on TV, right? That's as far as we've gotten.
Yeah, they had the Birds of Prey TV show way back in 2000s. I think they might be doing something in the Arrowverse with Oracle as well. But like, yeah, an actual big screen version, I can't imagine anytime soon, because like, you'd have to have the whole story about how she becomes Oracle and stuff. But looked a little bit into, though, the origins of the character beyond just the story reasons, and it all dates back, of course, to 1988, where they were making this little book called The Killing Joke.
The Killing Joke.
And it's quite upsetting and dark in that Alan Moore was hired to write The Killing Joke. Apparently, he had already fallen out with DC over just his treatment during the making of Watchmen.
Doesn't surprise me.
He essentially only really did it as a favor to Brian Boland.
Alan Moore having a falling out with somebody? Well, I never.
And he was essentially doing it as a favor to Brian Boland, who was hired to do the artwork. So he's like, okay, I'll do this. But apparently, Brian Bolland says, like, I don't think it was a labor of love for him in any regard. And Alan Moore has said in recent years, even though it's like one of the most acclaimed Batman stories of all time, he's just like, yeah, Killing Joke's not really a worthy work. I think it's a bit of a hack job myself. But and there are problems with the Killing Joke, and we'll get into them as well. But one of the things he says, Alan Moore has said that he also regrets his treatment of Barbara Gordon. Because within the story, if people don't know, the Joker shows up at Commissioner Gordon's front door, shoots Barbara in the spine, and then proceeds to strip her, take photographs of her to use to torture Jim Gordon later. Ooh. And from that point onwards, Barbara Gordon was in a wheelchair. And Alan Moore came to DC and was like, apparently he says he thinks Len Wein, and said, do you have any problems with me crippling Barbara Gordon? Because he wasn't really that featured a character anymore. Like, her biggest thing recently was that she was in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and she just gave Supergirl's eulogy. And that was, like, the biggest thing she had done in years. And Len Wein apparently said, yeah, okay, cripple the bitch. And that was his quote.
I remember that.
And that's like how nasty the thought process went into this.
That's horrible.
And so Alan Moore went and he did that, and apparently now regrets it. But within the same offices of DC, within the same year, because they were trying to build up, they were essentially doing a form of fridging the character, because Gail Simone, who would go on to write for Batgirl, probably enough, came up with this term fridging, where a female is made to suffer or die in order to motivate a male character. And that's exactly what's happening in The Killing Joke, because spurs on Batman, spurs on Jim Gordon. And DC as a whole had also done a Batgirl special that same summer, where Batgirl just gave up her title. And the whole reason that story came out was just to, like, add emphasis to how tragic it was that Barbara Gordon was getting crippled, because it was just like, hey, no one really knows about this. No one cares about this character anymore. But someone did, because in the offices of the Suicide Squad comic, a young woman called Kim Yale heard about these plans and was like, that's not right. You can't do that to Barbara Gordon. So her and her husband, John Ostenberger, they immediately began plans to revive Barbara in some way. But their whole mentality was, well, let's deal with the cards we've been dealt here. So rather than like, oh, she gets magically cured or something, they're like, no, we'll approach this with the idea of like making it part of the whole story. So within the Suicide Squad comic, in issue 23 from January of 1989, the squad start to be aided by a mysterious hacker who no one knows the identity of, but they're called Oracle. Ooh. And they keep coming in and typing messages to them. And then for over a year, people were like baffled as to who Oracle was. And Oracle became close to Amanda Waller's daughter, Flo, who then died. And then a year later, in issue 38, in February of 1990, it was revealed, and when Oracle's told that Flo has died, it cuts to Barbara Gordon in her wheelchair crying. And and you know it's Barbara Gordon because she's got a little Batgirl toy next to her and stuff. And it's a very sad shot, actually. And then throughout the rest of it, they said that Kim Yale went out of her way to make this story about being differently abled. She went and interviewed paraplegics. She would like dedicate time and stories to how difficult it would be for Barbara to get in and out of a car. Like, this the first issue they're really dealing with it. There's a whole scene. This comes across quite realistic, where she's recounting it and like recounting her attack and going through the PTSD of it. Tries to get in an elevator, and it's just all these people going, oh, so sorry, and been very awkward about her and not wanting to look her in the face and stuff, because they're just like, it's a person in a wheelchair. What are we supposed to do?
This sounds like a really great way of approaching it. Like, getting back at that guy who so callously went, yeah, just cripple it.
yeah. And the thing is, tragically though, Kim Yale go on to do this, and they wrote like an Oracle. In 1996, they wrote an Oracle Year 1 story and stuff. But in 92, the Suicide Squad comic folded. So they were like, well, is that just going to be the end of this whole Barbara Gordon Oracle thing? But thankfully not, because that same year, Denny O'Neil wrote The Sword of Azrael 1. Which is a miniseries. It was the biggest selling miniseries of that year. And Denny O'Neil was like, I like this whole Barbara Gordon being like an information broker for people. I'm going to use that in my story. And then when he did it, Chuck Dixon started doing it. And Chuck Dixon is infamous in comics for being like, once he gets an idea into his head, that idea is going to be just there forever. And so then after that, it became kind of quite common that Barbara was, in fact, this character now called Oracle. And then, in 1996, you had Chuck Dixon published Black Canary, Oracle, Birds of Prey. It was the same year as Yale and Ostrander's Batman Chronicles 5, which was Oracle Year 1. And one of the most tragic things about all this, though, is because Kim Yale, very outspoken feminist, always into representation and whatnot in comics. In 1997, she actually died at the age of 43. Whoa. So I don't know, the same year that Batman and Robin came out, I don't think the movie killed her, but I can't.
I sure hope not.
Can't be entirely certain.
Can't be ruled out. That's for sure.
Killed her career for a while.
Oh God. Oh, I like all of that though, and of course, Oracle. I mean, it ties into Phil again.
Yeah, of
the
course.
Oracle.
Oh wow, I didn't even think of that. I'm the best guest ever.
And, that then makes me think yet again of, as of recording, the trailer for The Matrix.
Man,
because
the trailer for
I'm
The
very
Matrix.
excited for that lady who looks like some kind of version of the Oracle.
Yeah, is it the Oracle or is it Sati?
Who knows? When people listen
We'll
to
have
this
to
in the
find
future,
out.
In fact, by the time this comes
I
out,
know.
The Matrix will have been
Oh
out.
jeez, man! Either we'll be very disappointed.
People are going to be laughing at us like, "Oh, these idiots."
I know. Wow.
Well, it is also weird as well.
How embarrassing.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen Oracle's symbol. She does have a little symbol that pops up when she would message people.
Yeah.
And it was like a kind of like a theater mask, like a blank white face with kind of squiggly lines at the head and stuff.
I never got why that was the symbol, though. I would have had it be like an eye or something.
Yeah, I think in one of the comics they do explain she has a dream about seeing herself as this person and things like this. But I always thought that was kind of weird because it's a bit similar to the anonymous hackers group, but they're using the Guy Fawkes mask.
Yeah.
And that Guy Fawkes mask comes from V for Vendetta, which was written by Alan Moore.
Everything's connected.
Alan Moore, yeah.
When Mr. Robot was first a thing, I bought the T-shirt of that group and that F Society. But now I can't wear it because everyone seems to think it's like some kind of cheap knockoff of the V for Vendetta thing. It's like, no, have you not watched Mr. Robot? God damn it.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's disappointing.
It's a great show.
I should see it. I was recommended to see it.
I think you would like it. I think it'd be your type of thing.
Yeah? All right.
Speaking of things, though, that Alan Moore made, this hacking business, quote unquote, really reminds me again, though, in Watchmen, when they actually get into Ozymandias' computer by just looking at the books he has on the desk. And they're like,
oh, that's perfect.
Ramesses. Nah. Ramesses 2. Oh, no, that was it.
Ramesses 2. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
I had to actually go and ask Travis Bowe when I was making my notes, because Travis Bowe, host of the Watchmen Minute. And I was like, was that some sort of indication that Ozymandias wanted them to know what he was up to because it's such a piss easy way to get into his computer? Or is it just lazy writing? And he was like, no, I think it's just lazy writing.
Oh, okay.
Alan Moore's clearly not a computer
take that.
guy. He's just like,
that.
I don't know how they got in. That's the simplest thing I can think of. I got other things to worry about here. Come on.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the voice?
I had a question about that. Does anyone know who it is? I couldn't see who it was, but it sounds. I know it's not her, but it sounds like Majel Barrett from Star Trek.
No, I think it might be just like one of the Foley crew or something like that. That was like, we just need someone to be like.
No, I've got no idea.
Yeah,
we just need someone with a warm voice.
Yeah.
Access denied.
I have to say though, not to jump too far ahead, but when she says access granted, it's almost too.
It's loud. It's access allowed. Which
Access allowed.
I have notes on.
Yeah, and there's a big build up to it. It's almost like the computer's sentient. It's like, oh, you got it right. Oh, okay.
It sounded like too erotic to me. It's like access allowed. You're like,
yeah.
Access to my bedchamber.
Let's find out what has Alfred got. Is this like his erotic fanfic? And he's got the Manservant and the Maiden.
Yeah.
It sounds like Alfred's been trying to propose anal for a while. And access denied. And one night she's had, or he has had, one too many martinis and access allowed.
Oh, really?
Oh my, we're going to the Batcave.
Hello, Al. You're quite good at turning me on.
Turning me on.
Well, that's the whole business thing. So, what actually inspires her to be like, Peg, is that she looks at the picture of her mother beside the computer. And it's like, oh, it's my mom. Wasn't she a total Betty? Because it's just, and it's a
What?
but it's weird because like they had to like recon this thing. She looks at that photo first. Nothing's written on it. She cuts back to her face, cuts back to the photo, and then it says "Love Peg" on it.
Yeah, that's
magically.
not there on the other shot.
That was a mystery to me.
The fact that Alfred's password is Peg is lending more credence to my Alfred plus anal theory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the other way around is the only difference. Oh, okay.
You can't get a password that's 3 letters.
That was my question, right?
In most things.
Can you have one that's 3 letters? My only thought was this is an older computer, so maybe.
So, I mean, it depends on your operating system. Who knows? This OS looks very Mac related.
Yeah.
I don't know what Mac's password standards were at that
They
point.
were more than 3 letters. I think the only time I've seen one you could do like that was on like DOS.
I mean, in 97, people knew even less about computers than they do now. So, whatever. The thing that bugs me is access allowed is not something that a computer says to you when you successfully type in your password.
There's no need to say
Unless it's a computer that knows that you're trying to gain access to something you're not supposed
Yeah,
to.
exactly. It's like it's sentient. It's weird.
My computer does not say congratulations to me when I type in my
You
password.
got it right. It's like,
Wait,
yeah, I
you
should
don't
hope I
get
got
the
it
little you don't get the little fanfare.
Maybe it should. Maybe that would cheer everybody up. That like
Yeah,
every
it
day when
would.
they go into the computer, it gives you a little boost of like, hey, you did something.
right. Yay! Woo woo! You're a star.
It's like it's Monday morning, but you made it, buddy. You're here. Like you're still going.
I might set my computer up so once a week, Monday morning, it'll do that for me. Give me a little boost.
Wouldn't it be nice? Monday
lovely,
morning,
wouldn't
get a
it?
coffee.
Oh.
Would be nice.
But no, that blew my goddamn mind. And I looked into it, and apparently a lot of movies do this. It's a well-known trope, and I've just never really caught on, is
Access granted.
access granted,
usually, though.
access allowed, anything like that. It happens in so many films, and nobody knows why, other than just people are
Access
stupid.
granted has become kind of the default for that, which is
Right.
why it stood out to me when you said it in the beginning, and I'm like, I swear this scene says access allowed.
Which is even weirder than granted.
It's the default to let, or you say access granted just so the audience knows we've logged in successfully. We have accomplished. We've gotten past that minor plot hill, and we're on to the next piece of plot that's going to happen.
It's also got this business of and I had to stop my computer doing it. I had to like shut down a lot of programs deliberately because it loads up everything instantly.
Yeah.
Like she gets in there and it's just like information is just thrown at her. Whereas like the entire Batman CD-ROM just vomits onto her lap.
I loved that. Like, obviously, they can't show us the 8 hours of her reading all of the documents within. Okay, I get that. But it literally is just throwing random crap across the screen.
It does. It genuinely looks as if this
But
is...
it's random Batman crap. It's not just the random crap that a 90-year-old might have gotten onto his computer. It's not
Yeah.
Bonzi Buddy.
That's another good point, actually. If you crack the password, you're just going to get all the information. There's not like another level of you need to find the folder or anything.
No.
Yeah, there's no like...
Definitely not porn.
Don't open this folder in particular. Leave this one.
But it is all very like... It's all JPEGs of like all the stuff from Batman Forever. Just the Batwing,
Addicts.
the boat.
It's a nice
It's-
callback, especially with that amazing
There's-
Batmobile.
Yeah.
There's some upside down text for no reason.
There's some Batarang stuff. There's it's like a version of the Redbird that's brown. Like they had not added in the colors or something. As if like when they made the movie, like, oh, we've not finished the bike yet. Like that's the last thing we're gonna shoot.
Well,
so we don't know
these are
what
the
the bike even looks like.
prototypes now. They had to come up with the design, then paint it. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. But apparently his screen projects onto his face.
Oh well, that's just wonderful dramatic flourish.
I mean, my screen projects light onto me, but you wouldn't be able to read what I'm reading off of my face.
It's an interesting design.
Yeah,
like
that would be very bad and awkward if you started watching porn on there.
Everyone can just see exactly what you're
On
up
your
to.
face.
I think people.
That's a new fetish.
As soon as people
There
hear
you
that
go.
access allowed, people will be instantly going like,
Access
ooh.
allowed.
It should have just been Uma Thurman doing it, because it's kind of how she speaks in this movie anyway.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah, it would have been something. But yeah, the projector thing just reminds me of Alien all the time. Love that. It was wonderful when they used it in Alien.
I absolutely do love, though. It is just a great visual idea to have the symbol up in her face.
Yeah, totally. I think
loading
that's
it and
great. There's nothing I can say that's wrong about it. It especially works in this movie.
Well, that's foreshadowing, right? Because it looks like a mask.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
hey,
There you go.
nice.
Oh, I didn't think I'd be the
Nice,
only one
man.
to clock onto that. I thought,
No.
not only is it her discovering it's Batman and Robin, but the way it falls, it goes over her eyes, like kind of saying she's the next.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't think of that. I
And
was
her
just like, oh, it's the
reaction-
logo from the main titles.
And her reaction's pretty interesting, I think, because she's not.
I hate her
You
reaction.
hate it? Oh,
What?
I liked it
honest,
because
it-
she's
I
not
think it's
like that
great.
shocked. She's more kind of like delighted, I guess. Maybe delighted that at least Alfred has had something going on in his life. Like, oh my god.
I don't get a single beat though of wait, what? Like not even like an iota, like a second of what?
No, she's instantly like, this is great.
Yeah, so I almost admire her going with the punches of just like, oh my god, this is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're looking at it like this, it really makes a lot of sense, especially if you're trying to communicate this to kids as well.
Yeah.
When you're watching it, it's like, yeah, because like for me, I don't remember what the hell they were talking about when Bruce Wayne was, just talking to Alfred on the bed and stuff like that. That would just went, that just went over my head.
Yeah, I didn't care as a kid.
But it's
no.
all those very obvious and visual cues of storytelling that remained when I used to see it when I was a kid. So especially this, where it's like the buildup of the music, the grin. It's like, yeah, baby, here we go. It's Batman time again.
Yeah, and
And
that's
that's
how
how it
you would
felt.
feel as a kid if you discovered
Yes.
this about someone you know.
Yes,
You'd be like, oh, this is
totally.
great.
Yeah.
This is the face
Yeah.
you have when you load up your Batman and Robin computer game, and it does the same little symbol loading up at the beginning and stuff.
Yes, I played the PlayStation game. As I said before, I thought Batman and Robin was the newest and best thing. So of course the PlayStation game, Batman and Robin.
I've never played. I don't think we've even talked about the PlayStation game.
I can't believe it's been this long and you guys didn't talk about the PlayStation game.
Because I remember so many fond memories of the advert of the Forever game and hating the Forever game. That when I played it, that came up quite a bit. But like, I never played the Batman and Robin game, and anyone who's on it, who did has not mentioned it.
Dude, well, I'm glad to be the first one to talk about this because that game sucks. But when I was a kid, I just thought, oh, it's just too hard, It's just so, so good that I can't play it. I'm just not good enough. But it sucks. I was watching people play it on YouTube, obviously, because it's a big nostalgic pull for me. I remember walking around as Batman. And look, I don't know if you know this, but the Batman and Robin game, like, introduced me to a lot of gameplay mechanics that were completely I didn't even think of. Well, granted, I was 8, but I didn't think of before. Like it had like an open world feel. I don't know if you've ever seen the gameplay for Batman and Robin.
Oh god,
I've looked
years
it up
ago.
on YouTube to sort of see what the deal was. And,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
And
I
it
know
was
it's the first like Batman game that's not like a side scroller. I think really.
Yeah, I had a
Yes.
bunch of side-scrolling ones as a kid. Yeah.
and this is before Grand Theft Auto 3, and I don't know if I think you're all kind of generally my age
Yeah,
range.
they're thereabouts. Yeah.
Like
Yeah, we're all in the same ballpark.
exactly,
here,
yeah. There you go, Jonathan. When GTA 3 came out, it just blew your mind because you could do anything.
Yeah.
And so back in '97 or '98, when I was renting Batman and Robin,
Oh,
to
remember
play-
renting games?
Yeah, when I was renting that, I remember you could choose between Batgirl, Robin, Batman, and when you did, you were free to roam the Batcave. You were able to walk wherever you wanted, and when you were ready, because it was like reliving the story of the film, so it's like Mr. Freeze is, you get a call and you're like, go to the museum to take out Mr. Freeze, and you would have the decision to walk to the Batmobile, get into it, drive away, and drive to the museum. But the game wouldn't restrict you, and you can go, and there are routes that you can take anywhere you want, basically. and I was so like it was a revolution. Revelation, not revolution. What am I talking about? Matrix Revolution. Sorry, it's Matrix. In
Well,
my
it's
head.
kind of a revolution, I suppose.
Yeah, it was a revelation to me that you can do like anything in games. Like I can walk around wherever I want, and my imagination just started spinning out. Like I thought, if I was just good enough at the game, I could go and maybe there'll be some some crooks out there in the corner of the street that I could just punch out, or I could go somewhere else. And I was just like, I want a Star Wars game like this. I want this game like that. I want a game that's like open world like this.
Now you've got too many.
And yeah, now we've got too many. And it's so funny because like I didn't get far in that game. I actually got, because driving was such a bitch. Like it was so bad. Like it took me so long to get to the museum, and I rented this more than once, and I couldn't even get to the museum to fight the thugs, the ice thugs in the museum. And when I got to the museum, the game was so like difficult that the first one I encountered hit me twice and I died, and I had to start all over again. So I had to do the driving, which took like half an hour, and I had to do all that all over again because there were no saves, there was nothing. And I just thought to myself, well, the game's just that good. I just don't get it. I'm just not good enough.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like we need to play it now to talk
We
about
can
it.
track it.
It's impossible, man. I think if you watch people talk about it on YouTube, they'll tell you right out. It is
This
just
is the same
no
exact
good.
thing happened to me with the Batman Forever game. When I was a kid, tried playing it and was like, this is way too difficult. But I'm a kid. I'm probably not getting it.
Yeah.
And then if you look it up now, it's all anyone ever says about it is like, it was ridiculously difficult.
Games were then. They were insane. I don't know how I ever finished like Sonic the Hedgehog, with all the Chaos Emeralds and I can't do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had time then, man. You just had time.
I think that's
Yeah,
probably what it
totally.
is. Like today, these days, if I get an hour a day to play a game, that's like, oh, that's good. That's nice.
You
Yeah.
barely have an hour a day in which to get funky.
It's
I
true.
know a friend of mine lent me their copy of the Legend of Zelda, the one for the Switch, Winds of Breath of the Wild, and she said, "You can have it for a month." It's been 4, and I haven't played.
Oh yeah, that's like me. That's my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I
There you
stick
go.
to things now, like a basic bitch. I played like Call of Duty because I can just put that on for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
That's
go.
it's been a running thing throughout this season. We'll probably finish the season. The situation will not have changed, but a friend of mine did lend me his PS4 so I could play the Spider-Man game.
You still haven't played.
Ah.
I have yet to touch it.
How long ago was that?
It was back in like April or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like, anyway, I wanted to go back to Batman and Robin the game. That gives me more nostalgic feelings than the movie does. It's just,
Oh.
even though it's just, I didn't complete anything because the game sucks so bad.
I get that. I totally get it. Like I have a fond attachment to a lot of games that I probably never got out of the first couple of levels. Because back in the old days, it didn't matter. Like
Yeah.
No,
you
you
could
were
play the
engaged.
opening level 100 times. It wasn't boring. It's fine.
Yeah.
They used to give out those like demo discs. That
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
I vividly remember the Tony Hawk demo disc. Like I played the Warehouse endless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't
I
feel like you were
don't
missing
remember-
out, did you? You were just like, yeah.
No, you felt like, oh, I'm just exploring it more.
Totally,
I always remember
totally.
when I finally got to play the entire game of Abe's Odyssey because I played the demo so
demo!
much.
Same.
And then when you
same.
get into like one room and it's just like, nope, access denied. But then at one point in the game you get in and it goes access allowed. And I was like, what the hell is this? I can go into this room now?
Yeah. Did you guys? Okay, listen, because I was living in Austria back then when the PlayStation came out, and I got the PlayStation, and I got the DualShock version with a Demo 1 disc in it.
Oh, Demo 1.
Did any of you, like John Finn or Niall, did any of you get that? Did you play that? Because it had Abe's Odyssey on there.
I had that disc. I did. I had
Yeah,
the PlayStation quite early, so there wasn't even a DualShock. It
oh,
didn't
okay.
exist.
You got it even earlier than I did. All right.
In fact, I had the first version when it came out of the analog controller, where there was a button in the middle to change modes. There was a different mode for flight sims.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it would light
Whoa.
up. So red was for normal analog control, and green was for flight.
Wow.
I did have that. I'm trying to remember what other stuff was on.
Well,
I
the
remember
music,
there was-
dude, you get like if you can recognize the music, it goes dun 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 dun
Hey.
dun 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 dun
No, I don't
dun
think-
dun dun dun.
The
No.
only other thing I really remember is that there was a thing with the T-Rex.
Yeah,
T-Rex
that
wandering
T-Rex
was
towards
in
the
there.
camera. and
T-Rex
you
was
just had
in
to-
there, yeah, the demo for the T-Rex, and it's like,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
Oh.
Wow, the graphics.
At the time, they genuinely were. This is the thing. People look at it now and go, oh, like these movies, in fact. Whenever there's bad CGI, people are like, oh, it looks so bad. It didn't look bad. Nobody questioned it then.
Well, I mean,
No.
Well.
Well,
We question it now. That's the difference. Like, back then, people just went, oh, look at this. This is cool. It was just a new technique, like you had your stop motion. That
Yeah.
Uh,
nobody questioned that when that was a thing.
Nobody questioned No, never mind. Go on.
but here's
All right.
one way I would try to, because I'm always trying to fix this movie in some way in my head. And we already had a reason for Barbara Wilson to be chucked out of Oxbridge just because they found out she was a street racer. And in those minutes, we were kind of like, I guess that tracks that they wouldn't want her doing something illegal or whatever. But my thing would be, because this whole business of just typing in words and hoping that hacks you into the thing, it's a bit too simplistic for me. I would have had it. She's a computer science major, right? Maybe she's built a little device that hacks things really quickly.
Like Terminator 2.
Yeah, it's a big.
or
Yeah.
you do the thing that they've done in a few things, and I believe they did it in Zack Snyder's Justice League. She got kicked out because she was hacking into the system to fix people's grades or something like that.
That would be perfect. That's what.
Like someone who had a family tragedy and the school bureaucracy said, "No, you failed the class. We're going to fail
Yeah,
the class."
you
And she
have
went
to
in
be
and
like
fixed their grades.
she's about to made a little device that you slot in the side. It hacks. It does 1,000 variations a minute or something. And she was going to sell it to MI6 or something, but to prove it, she hacked into the school's database, and they were like, most unorthodox, and they expelled her. And maybe even the police actively wanted to arrest her because this is a dangerous thing to have. She's like, I'm out of here, and that's why she's actually back in America, because she's like, I had to get the hell out of Dodge.
That would be great. That'd be so cool. And it kind of made me think of course, on the Patreon on the side, I occasionally talk about the movie Rent, and one of the characters in Rent has kind of done the same thing, because Tom Collins, he's been causing a lot of bother at the computer science department at his university. So they've kicked him out. Basically, he had a job there, and they were like, you need to get gone, because he was basically just hacking into stuff for fun and screwing around with it. So it kind of made me think of that.
Because you could have a nice moment though. Then when she actually does get in, and she sees the password that worked was Peg 187 blah 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 or something like that. And she looks at the picture and she's like, "Oh, thanks, Mom," because she realizes oh, that's what he's named it. That's why it says Peg.
But this
That's
would
why he's
take some
chosen that.
effort and thought.
It's just a simple redraft, a simple going maybe we should make this a bit less stupid than just going PEG.
I guess let's suppose we were doing this movie for maybe a more modern audience. You're taking the same basic plot outline. What I think you could do is, obviously, yes, I think that is a good idea, establishing more of her kind of hacker cred, her cracker cred, as it were.
Cracker cred.
But,
nice.
yeah, I know. As I'm saying it, I'm like, God, it's kind of a shame that the word cracker also is a pejorative for a white person, and she's really white.
It just makes me think of that bit in Jurassic Park where she's like, "I'm not a nerd. I'm a hack. We prefer to be called hacker." She said, "I prefer to be called cracker."
Crackers. Great.
I think it might have been cool, maybe, if the scene had her doing things that would be more technical ways to try to access the password, going into the root and trying to decompile files and stuff like that. And maybe she sees, and then she sees the picture next to the computer, so you get back to that plot beat and she goes, "Peg? Really?" and tries that and gets in.
Oh, sure.
It's just a way to kind of make it less sort of '90s understanding of computers.
Because it's introducing this idea. Like, again, she's a computer science major.
But I think this is so funny.
Anybody could do this, though. This could have been Dick Grayson in this scene. This could have been Alfred himself. Could have hacked this thing by just
You've got to think in the
Yeah.
case of the 90s, though, right? Okay, I had a computer since I was born, but not everybody did.
Yeah, not everyone did. I don't know if I had a computer at my house at this point.
See, I mean, I got the
97.
internet.
Oh, I know I did.
I got the internet in like 1992.
Ooh,
So I'm like
that's,
OG.
that's
Yeah,
earlier
'cause
than
my
me.
dad's like a
Yeah.
tech person, so But not everyone did. So people genuinely would just make their password like, their dad's name or something.
I think a lot of it too to play devil's advocate. If I may, it might also be as well that it's just like screen written by some guy in his 40s doesn't know anything about.
Well, that's
computers.
another thing, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's in general. That's why computer scenes are not usually that accurate. Is because one, they're usually not written by people that are knowledgeable about computers, and two, they're usually not written for an audience that is that knowledgeable
Yes.
about computers. So
So if we showed the hacking, it might be exciting to people like us. But to a lot of viewers, they'd be like, this is boring.
what I think the best way to do it is in such a way that if you can find a way to do it so that the hackers and the people who are actually knowledgeable in the audience can watch the scene and go, oh, look, that's a detail they got right. She actually logged into the operating system as the root user and, so on and so forth. But then you don't get so bogged down in the technical that you bore the 99.9% of your audience.
No, the only real way to do it is to do it like the movie hackers.
Hack the planet.
Hack the planet!
Yeah, I do. And I do kind of like that. I know they were not thinking of building a cinematic universe here, even though they did have another sequel in their heads. I do kind of like that they are sort of establishing her computer savviness with the possibility of her being Oracle.
I think that's exactly what they're doing. They're kind of laying the groundwork, and she's the new Alfred.
In a world where maybe we're like Kevin Feige is shepherding this movie, this is exactly what they're doing. They are establishing this plot thread now so that later on she can be Oracle.
Because Alfred, spoiler alert, people, he's not long for this world. He needs a replacement. And you've got Oracle, essentially, right here, doing the tech.
And he's getting this ready for his replacement. So, instead of all the bat tech coming up, it's like feather dusters and like a tailcoat with a bow tie.
He just wants a new butler, basically. Yeah. You must look after the master.
It is so weird that as the blueprints of those things coming up, the Batwing and so on, there's also the 90s computer rendering of it just falling from the top of the screen.
And that's exactly what happens when you load up a CD-ROM, right? All this stuff just goes.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm noted out for 92. Does anyone else have anything else or?
I think I'm good.
I'm noted out. I could talk about this goddamn video game
What kind
with
of
Phil
computer
for all
is
day.
that?
But,
Yeah, right. We can talk about the computer. Why am I talking in that voice?
Computers.
I feel bad because I have not even played the video game. It's only you, I think.
Only me. I am the only one who has played this computer game.
But you have inspired us to want to play it.
Well, good luck.
I'll get a dodgy ROM. I'll download it.
I'm just gonna briefly mention it. It's honestly not that much to talk about, but there are typos and weird capitalizations all over the text.
It's an old man typing. If he's
an old man
manually
typing.
insert this
Yeah,
information.
What is your problem, Alex?
It's cool.
Come
He's
on.
doing leet speak anyway. Yeah.
He's doing lead
Reference?
speak. It's fine. It's fine. He's fine.
Alfred
He's doing
is
great.
leet. I don't even know if the kids will know what I'm talking about anymore. That's not even a thing.
Is Leet even a thing?
No, it's
know, right?
definitely not.
I think we're exposing our own old menness now.
Oh, yeah, we definitely sound old saying leet.
Here, we're on the MySpace nowadays.
Update your top 8.
Yep, gotta check my Bebo after. Everyone remember Bebo?
Oh my god.
It's not back.
Anyway, we're going to head off into the dark night. We're going to go and update our away status on AIM.
Yeah.
And we will be back.
I got my Zanga.
Oh my god, I had a Zanga! Holy crap.
Hey!
If you're looking for the next episode, be sure and ask Jeeves. where you
Ask
can find it.
Jeeves.
Yep, load up Netscape and go to askjeeves.com and make sure to type it in there. And we'll be back on Friday with more exciting Bat Minute and Robin. See you then, Batmites.
I'm gonna have to think about it real quick. Next time, more Scrabbles with the squad. No, that's an old man. What am I doing?
But you can also do Arnold.
The origins of an oracle continue to take shape while a peculiar pair pack up and prepare to petrify the cityscape.
There you go.
Crown Prince of What? The Crown Prince of
Chillblades.
Chillblades sets up his chilling next move. But what's distracting our beloved bickering bourgeois bros back at the Bat Brute? I can't do that. Keep everything in here, by the way. Keep everything in here. A bird boy gets a booty call on Friday. Bat mites. Same bat pod. Bad. Same bat. How does he say it? Same bat bad. Different bat minute.
We'll be back.
back.